Hey mi gente, it's Julian Steve. You already know my name, but if you're new here, hey. Today we're going to be talking about anti-blackness specifically anti-blackness with Tyrese. And the reason why is because besides I haven't talked about this in a while, specifically anti-blackness within black celebrities, I also was like, I might as well make everyone vote, which by the way, thank you for everyone who voted for this topic. So because of that, we're talking about this today, and I hope you enjoy. For people who are not familiar with Tyrese Gibson, I'm going to explain his background right now. Tyrese Gibson was born on December 30th, 1978, and of Black American, aka African American heritage. He was raised in Watts, Los Angeles, California. His mother, Priscilla, raised him and his 3 older siblings as a single parent. His deadbeat father left the family. Skip. Tyrese is best known as a model, actor, and R&B singer. When it comes to modeling, he started off with appearances on Coca-Cola, Guess, and Tommy Hilfiger. When it comes to acting, Tyrese got his first major acting gig in Baby Boy. He's a part of the Fast and Furious and Transformers franchises. Whereas singing, he has 6 studio albums. His 3 highest US Hot 100 songs were How You Gonna Act Like That, Pulling Me Back, and Sweet Lady. Make me sing a bit for y'all. Sweet lady, will you be mine? Sweet love for a lifetime. Come on, sing the next part. In this portion of the video, I'm going to be talking about examples of Tyrese's anti-blackness. I plan to be nuanced. However, that does not mean I agree entirely with what Tyrese has done. Growing up, Tyrese admitted to facing colorism. In 2020, TV One's Uncensored, he admitted to not feeling attractive due to his darker skin. He proceeded to discuss how girls didn't find him attractive.
Never felt a piece of handsome. I had never felt a piece of being cute. I have never heard compliments throughout my childhood. I never got any attention from the ladies. I caught every joke in the dark-skinned community ever. I was black, burnt tarp. I was all teeth and eyes. I was blurple, black and purple. And I just never felt attractive, ever.
Now, here's my opinion. I get it. Growing up, everyone has their own stories. Trust me, I have mine. However, are you kidding me? Everyone has their own stories when it comes to growing up, and I try to understand where people are coming from in certain situations, but then there are people like Tyrese who I feel like it's just hard for me to empathize a bit, because certain actions that they've done, you kind of can understand why they do certain things within their life, but at the same time, wouldn't you want to make a better change for the up and coming generation of your family? Wouldn't you want to help out people who were struggling similarly to you? And I know that's not Tyrese's job, but as a famous actor, singer, model, I feel like he could have been an advocate and talked about this more with certain people, and for what I researched, he didn't until this uncensored interview came at his doorstep. And I get it, because not everybody want to talk about these type of things, and I do know in Black male spaces these type of discussions are very taboo. So I give credit when credit is due, but at the same time I feel like we as a collective in the Black community, but especially Black men, we need to do better when it comes to expressing our traumas and how we cope as adults. Because I feel like there's always the same thing with these Black male celebrities when it comes to anti-Blackness. In 2021, in the Lemonade interview, Tyrese discussed how he felt like he was getting robbed roles by Terrence Howard due to the fact that Terrence Howard is a lighter-skinned Black man, even though Terrence Howard is mixed race. But just for the sake of this portion of the video, and because of the way Tyrese described him in this interview, we're going to refer to him as a light-skinned Black man, but I know he's mixed race. Come on. You guys know me. You all know me at this point.
And I'm just thinking to myself, Terrence Howard has no idea how many roles that I was about to book, and they went with him because he's the lighter skinned Black man with the green eyes.
Wow.
And so it's crazy to me. Like, I'm number one, I'm the star, I'm this blue Black, you know, all of the things that I was laughed about in the hood.
Further on in this interview, Tyrese discussed how he's happy with numerous Black actors, specifically darker-skinned Black actors making it in Hollywood and being the representation that he always wanted while growing up. And when I talk about representation, he's specifically speaking on powerful roles that are not common when it comes to Black people, or in this case, high budget movies, franchises, etc. Then in the interview, he discussed how people found light-skinned people more attractive. And in this interview, where he refers to light-skinned people, he's referring to light-skinned Black people and mixed with Black people.
Throughout my whole childhood, it was not cool to be dark skinned in the hood. There was always the light skinned Black people that seemed to have gotten all the attention and all the love and considered pretty or attractive or handsome. And since I've been in Hollywood, we dealt with the same thing.
When it comes to this discussion, I'm going to share a bit about my experience growing up with colorism and racism in New York City. Yes, colorism is a real thing. Yes, it's real in Hollywood, but it's also real in people's day-to-day lives. I went through colorism growing up, and racism, of course, and it wasn't from my family. When it comes to the colorism discussion, it wasn't from my family. It was from outside my house. I've experienced colorism. I have countless examples. If you see certain videos on my channel, I probably talked about it a bit before. It's not really a secret on here. I get where Tyrese is coming from in that area and about how it does affect you. But what I do find very interesting is him talking about how people prefer light-skinned Black people and mix with Black people who happen to be light-skinned. And in my opinion, I do not care what people in general would think about me. And when I say people, I'm specifically talking about people that are not Black or mixed with Black. And the reason why I'm saying this is because for what I understood from his interview with Leah and Lemonade is that he wanted to talk about how people as a whole do not prefer darker skinned black people. While that is possible, I personally do not care. Why do I need the validation of people that are not within my race? I don't know. That's just my opinion. And I think I've come to this conclusion growing up, seeing certain things growing up in New York City. That in this situation, that was my situation growing up. And then that's why I realized I shouldn't care that people outside of my race find me attractive or not. If they do not, wherever they do, whatever. I don't know. That's just my opinion. But from what I'm understanding, Tyrese is talking as a person who is trying to market towards numerous people because he's an actor, he's a singer, he's a model. So it's like, it's a different thing. It's not the same thing as what I'm talking about. But what I'm saying is it's similar. And I feel like Tyrese has to do that. Sometimes you have to be thankful. Tyrese doesn't talk about how a lot of black people, a lot of black Americans to be specific, put him on because if it weren't for the black community as a whole, especially black Americans, Tyrese would not be where he's at right now. If we're gonna be honest, because Tyrese got his fame from the black community. And I just feel like he doesn't talk too much about that, which I do find very interesting. He's making it sound like most of the people that were supporting him were non-black people, even though he did acknowledge that black people, not even people in general, didn't find black people who happen to be darker skinned as attractive and marketable when it comes to like big budget films and stuff like that. I do believe him when he talks about that, but I just feel like it's not as genuine as we all think it is. If you notice, Tyrese has a type of woman he procreates with, and I know this part is gonna get people pissed off, but we need to talk about how dark-skinned people, especially dark-skinned black men, procreate with either lighter-skinned black women mixed with black women or non-black women, just so that way they can make sure their children do not come out looking like them. To make my life easier, we're going to be focusing on Tyrese's 3 relationships that are mostly known to the public, because I'm not trying to research and find out a bunch of women he either dated or found attractive. I don't have time for that. So Tyrese married Norma Michelle from 2007 through 2009. Then he married Samantha Lee from 2017, and they separated in 2020. He's currently dating internet personality Zenny Timothy. As you can see, his first 2 wives were racially ambiguous. His current partner is caramel to light brown complexion. That being said, Tyrese has a type. And when I say a type, I'm specifically speaking on complexion. I also noticed that Tyrese has a lot of issues with Norma and Samantha, and it's really bad. I know some of you or most of you probably enjoy Tyrese as an actor, model, R&B singer. I get it, but we have to be realistic. He does have issues when it comes to how he presents himself online. Like, do not get me started with the whole, that was my baby, that was my baby. I just want my baby. Like, that was too much. And I get it. We have to be understanding when it comes to parents in crisis. I get it. But why you have to do all that on the internet? Why? Like, was that really necessary? That doesn't make your baby mama look good. And then also, you have a big fan base. Now these people are probably going to be attacking your baby mama just because of what you put out on the internet. And then, don't get me started with what he did with Samantha recently. He has been talking bad about her, and I guess she's been talking bad about him or saying how she wants to be back in the relationship with him, but they cannot rekindle the relationship. and now he moved on. I get it, like it's annoying, I guess, for Tyrese, and that's why he's speaking out about it. But at the same time, you pushing your baby mama's agenda now because of what you just did. A lot of people are going to be following her, interacting with her stuff even more than before. So it doesn't make sense. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't make sense.
Ugly when I cry because I'm crying for my baby.
That being said, when it comes to what I was talking about, when it comes to complexion preferences within the Black community, I'm not even talking about in real life. I'm going to talk about specifically Black male celebrities and mixed with Black celebrities. So please do not come with, oh, why are you talking about what is going on in what you see in New York City versus what we see in Hollywood. Okay, just be quiet. We're going to be focusing specifically on Hollywood right now. I noticed that a lot of these brown to darker skinned Black men rarely partner with women that are brown to darker skinned Black women. It's rare, very rare. And it's a very rare sight to see. And when I see couples that are brown to darker skin together in Hollywood, it does make me happy because I do not really see that like on the mega screen, because I've noticed that a lot of these men, they prefer women that do not look like their mothers. They don't want to date people that are within complexions of how their family looks like. My point is, there are different types of complexions within the Black community, within Black families. I know that. But my issue is when you see the same pattern with these Black men in Hollywood. They love dating people who are either like racially ambiguous, or you can tell they Black, but they are lighter skinned. And I get it, that I don't want to say that's their preference, because once again, I do not like when people use racial preferences or colorist preferences. That shit is weird. That shit will always be weird to me, and I always try to challenge everyone I know when it comes to this, because this is a poor way to think, and it's really disgusting in my opinion. But my point is that you rarely see couples that are with two Black people who happen to be brown skin or dark skin. It's very rare. And hopefully people change in Hollywood, specifically Black Hollywood. We see. Okay, on to the next section. Sometime in February 2024, Tyrese posted on his Instagram a video of a Mexican father. I believe he is a truck driver, and his children gifted him a new truck. His children gifted him the truck for being a great father. Under this post, Tyrese starts by saying, "Sometimes I wish I was Latino." I mean, the Latin community is grounded in family, loyal, and entrepreneurs, businessmen, and women literally represent the dream, the grind, the hustle, doing whatever it takes to stick together against all odds. If us as Black culture was more grounded in these integral, magical nuances of us, we would be dominant. So this post is very long, so I'm not going to get too into it. It's a really, really long post. What we're going to do is I'm going to be discussing certain parts of this post that really pissed me off, and then we're going to conclude, okay? The first thing I want to call out is the way Tyrese tries to uplift the Latino community, saying that it's very grounded in family morals and all this other stuff when it comes to entrepreneurship, etc., whatever. Tyrese, as a Honduran American, when it comes to the Latino community, it's not as inclusive as you think it is. It's very exclusive. There are certain people who do not fit the criteria when it comes to being a Latino. I've talked about this numerous times on my channel, so I'm not even going to get too much into it, but what I'm saying is, if you do not know something, do not say stuff, in my opinion, because you really sound tone deaf here. And not every community is perfect, I get that. But what I'm trying to say is that when somebody, for example me, has two cultural things, in this case, I'm a part of the Black community and I'm also a part of the Latino community. Being Black is a culture and a race, whereas being a Latino is an ethnicity. And obviously that has to do with culture too, but what I'm saying is it has nothing to do with race. So with me being a part of the Latino community, where a lot of people wouldn't consider me a Latino just because I'm Black, it shows that basically people that look like you are not welcomed in these spaces. Then he mentions Latinos, Muslims, and Jewish people as that they have these very, very tight relationships and building wealth and connecting, etc., with their religions. You do know that all these three cultures that you just mentioned have Black people in them. It's like what I said earlier. There are different types of people within the Latino community. It's the same thing in the Jewish community and the Muslim community. And in these communities, they also have their own biases when it comes to Black people too. I'm not gonna get too much into it because I'm not really educated when it comes to that, but I do know because of people I know, and also because of certain articles I've read or certain stories I've heard from Jewish people and Muslim people who happen to be Black or half Black. His comment on needing Black men in the household. Now, as a person who was raised by a single mother, I understand where Tyrese is coming from, because like I shared in my video, being I forgot the title. Not me forgetting the title, I'm probably gonna put it somewhere on the screen. I talked about how not having male figures affected me in a way, and it's specifically male figures within my family, it affected me in a way. And then I touched on how people shame you just because of that. So I kind of understand where Tyrese is coming from. But I do feel like, once again, I'm not sure, I don't know Tyrese's full background, but I feel like Tyrese was more cool when it comes to being accepted within the Black community or within Black spaces or even in Latino spaces or other spaces, because of the way he talks about Latinos as an example. And I can relate to that because as I've talked about in that specific video, I talked about how I always felt excluded when it comes to certain spaces growing up because of the way I presented myself and because of my family background. And sometimes I felt like I wish that my male family members were in my life. I get it. It's important to have relationships with your parents, but sometimes things happen and you have to be grateful for what you already have within your family instead of bringing down women, specifically Black women who be raising their own Black children or mixed with Black children on their own. And we gotta be grateful. I do believe the men in the Black community need to be held accountable more, especially with the deadbeats, because I feel like a lot of men within our community get away with so much things. And I'm talking about the bad ones, not the good men who are there for their children. I'm talking about the bad men who are not there for their children or try to come back into their children's lives when their children are bigger and they more successful, they have more money. I just feel like you gotta put that energy onto them, because I feel like every time when Tyrese tries to talk about certain topics like that, it's like he's shitting on his single mother and single mothers in general, specifically Black single mothers. millions of black men in prison comment. I'm going to make this brief. I'm tired of people making this as an excuse as to why black men are not within their families. And in this case, I'm talking about within the United States because it's obvious that Tyrese is talking about the United States. But I just feel like some people use this as a cop-out. I do believe certain people bring this up because it shows that we have systematic racism in this country, which is obviously. But I think certain people bring it up so that way they could educate people, while some people, in this case Tyrese, do it so that way they could make it a bit easier for the black men within the black community who are deadbeat fathers and they're not in jail. Maybe that's Tyrese's issue with his father, but I'm not sure because from what I researched, his father was not in jail. So I'm gonna need Tyrese to stop making these big, vague statements. Besides the black American community, the black community as a whole, there are so many the black fathers out there. You just have to look around on social media or even in your life, in your day-to-day life. You gotta look around, talk to people, look at their family trees. Tyrese, you have broken homes, 2 broken homes. So I do not understand what you're talking about, because if you really want to unite your family, you wouldn't be beefing with Norma, you wouldn't be beefing with Samantha. You would try to keep your families that you already created together with your new family. Most likely Tyrese is going to have more kids with Zanine, maybe, we don't know, but it's possible because Zanine is young. So, concluding statement and the outro of this video. Tyrese Gibson is a legend and anti-black. Do I believe he can change for the better? Maybe, because I'm going to be honest with you all. When it comes to people, in this case Tyrese's age, because Tyrese is 45, when it comes to people who are in their 40s and up, it's really hard for you to educate them when it comes to being in the wrong, when it comes to bad habits. It's really hard to tell them, hey, this is bad, this is bad, this is bad. For them to actually grasp it and be like, you know what, you're right, what I'm doing is bad. So in this case, when it comes to Tyrese, it's going to be really hard for him as a 45-year-old man to change his views unless he genuinely wants to change his views. So I'm not sure. That's basically what I'm saying. He may change for the better. We see. I'm not sure. Hopefully, he continues to be a good father to his 2 daughters and future children if he plans to have more children. And good luck to him and his new relationship. I wish them the best. Thank you so much if you made it this far in this video. I appreciate you. Be sure to like this video, comment, share, and subscribe if you're new here. Tell me, what do you think about Tyrese Gibson in the comments below? I'm curious to know what you all think. Of course, if you say something that doesn't make sense, I'm going to either annoy you or I'm going to block you, whichever comes first. Okay, mi gente? Okay, mi gente? Okay. Thank you and peace, mi gente.
Nobody wants to hire me, Norma. Congratulations.